My name is Aldo, and I never believed in the supernatural until that night. It all began with a traveling carnival that came to my small hometown, Waringin City, a quiet place on the outskirts of West Java. Normally, whenever such entertainment arrived, the entire town would pour into the field. But this year, something was different. Something felt off. Something I'll never forget. That afternoon, the sky was dim and heavy with clouds. Around 5 in the evening, I found an envelope of gold placed neatly on my doorstep. There was no sender's name, no postmark, only one sentence written elegantly on the front. Special invitation, the Elysium Carnival. The golden ticket is for the chosen only. Inside was a golden ticket, its surface shimmering faintly like old metal. On the back, written in small crimson letters, it read, "One night, one chance, not for sale, not to be discarded." I thought it was some kind of marketing gimmick, but the strange thing was, I was the only one who received it. My friends Nando and Rion got nothing. The three of us usually went to carnivals together, so they teased me relentlessly. "Wow, maybe they want you to be the clown this year," Nando joked. But Rion frowned as he examined the ticket. "Elysium? I've heard that word before. Doesn't it mean heaven?" I laughed it off, though unease had already crept into my stomach. The ticket felt warm in my hand, almost pulsing, like it had a heartbeat. Still, my curiosity outweighed my fear. That night, we agreed to go together. The carnival was held in a vacant lot on the edge of town, the same place where an old night market had burned down years ago. There were no official signs, just faint red and yellow lights flickering in the distance. And the music. Soft, slow waltz music drifting through the fog like a melody from a bygone era. When we arrived, the carnival was real. Rows of tents glowed beneath strings of orange bulbs. There was a clown booth, a fortune-teller's tent, an old Ferris wheel, and stands selling popcorn and cotton candy. But everything looked old. The staff wore 1960s-style uniforms, and the banners were painted in faded, antique lettering. It was like walking into a forgotten photograph. What unsettled me most was the small number of visitors. Barely a dozen people wandered around, their faces pale, their smiles stiff. There was a sweet scent in the air, like caramel mixed with something metallic and burnt. As we approached the main gate, a tall man in a crimson suit and a black top hat stepped forward. His smile was wide, too wide, and his eyes were bottomless black. "Welcome to the Elysium Carnival," he said in a deep, deliberate tone. "Do you have your ticket?" I held out the golden one. The moment he saw it, his expression changed. Not surprised, but satisfied. "Ah, a special guest," he murmured. "Please step inside, Mr. Aldo. Your two friends may join as companions." I froze. He had said my name, though I'd never told him. Before I could ask how he knew it, the man bowed slightly and opened the gate for us. The music swirled louder. Lights began to swirl around the tents. The air felt thick, a strange mix of smoke, candle wax, and damp soil. As we entered, Nando whispered, "Dude, something's not right. Everyone here looks off." I turned and noticed it too. Some of the people weren't moving quite right. Their skin was grayish, their steps stiff. A little boy held a red balloon, staring blankly ahead. And then he vanished, right there before our eyes, gone as if he had never existed. Trying to shake it off, we walked toward one of the main tents. Above the entrance was a wooden sign that read, "Main Attraction. 1 golden ticket, 1 miracle." I showed the guard my ticket. He grinned with unnaturally white teeth and pulled back the curtain for us. Inside, the air was cold and smelled faintly of rust. A single chandelier flickered above, illuminating a stage where an elderly magician stood. He wore a gray suit, white gloves, and a black cane. Deep wrinkles lined his face, but his eyes gleamed like glass, sharp and full of something inhuman. "Welcome, holder of the golden ticket," he announced, locking his gaze on me. "Tonight you shall witness something unforgettable." He tapped his cane on the floor 3 times. Behind him, a large wooden box was rolled onto the stage. The magician called for a volunteer, and to my horror, Rion raised his hand. "Step right in, young man," said the magician. Rion chuckled nervously and stepped into the box. The moment the lid shut, I heard metal latches click tight. The magician began to chant softly, not in any language I knew. The air around us grew cold. Then he knocked on the box 3 times and opened it. It was empty. No Rion, no sound, only a hollow rush of air, cold as the grave. We all froze. Then, from the speakers above came Rion's voice, distant and trembling. "Aldo, help me!" The lights went out. The tent shook violently. Screams erupted from the audience. When the lights returned, the magician was gone. So were the other spectators. Only Nando and I remained, and on the stage floor lay a second golden ticket, stained faintly with red. We ran out of the tent, desperate for escape. But the moment we stepped outside, the carnival grounds were different. All the tents were gone. The once lively field was now barren, silent, and covered in gray dust. Only an old Ferris wheel remained, slowly turning in the wind, though no power ran through it. "Nando, where the hell are we?" I whispered. He pointed ahead, trembling. "Eldo, look!" At the entrance gate stood the same people we'd seen before, but now they were motionless. Their eyes were open yet empty, their bodies stiff like mannequins. Some faces looked decayed, their skin cracked like melted wax. We turned to run the other way, but no matter which path we took, we ended up back at the same place, the main tent. The waltz music started again, slower this time, distorted, like an old vinyl spinning too slowly. When I looked down at my ticket, the red letters had changed. Now they read, "1 soul has been traded. 2 remain." I nearly dropped it. The ticket felt hot, burning against my palm. Nando stared at it in horror. "Aldo, that thing's cursed. It's taking people." Before I could respond, a familiar figure appeared from the shadows. The tall gatekeeper in the crimson suit. His voice was calm, but his words crawled under my skin. "Every century, this carnival returns to collect those who crave entertainment, those too curious for their own good. The golden ticket is not a gift. It's a summons, a debt to be paid." I shouted, "What did you do to my friend? Where is Rion?" The man's smile widened. "Rion has joined the performance. But you, Mr. Aldo, you still have a choice. Hand over your ticket or take his place. I stared at the ticket. It was now glowing red, pulsing like a heart. On its back, new words had appeared, faint but legible. A ticket cannot be refused. It can only be exchanged.
Nando stepped back, trembling. Although, don't you dare choose me. We have to get out. I nodded, but deep inside something was whispering. A faint voice, not my own, seeping through my mind. Only one leaves, one ticket, one soul. The world began to spin. The Ferris wheel's lights flickered back to life. The tents reappeared, but as transparent silhouettes, like ghosts of the past. And there, in the center of the grounds, stood Rian. His face was pale, his eyes hollow, yet he smiled faintly. Aldo, please take my ticket. I can't stand this place anymore. I ran toward him, desperate to reach my friend, but Nando grabbed my arm. It's not him, Aldo. It's just a trick. I couldn't stop. All I wanted was to save Rian. I held the ticket tight, screamed from the depths of my chest, "Take me instead! Let him go!" Blue flames engulfed my body. The world shattered into sound, laughter, screams, the blare of trumpets and grinding metal, until everything folded into silence. When I woke up, everything was different. The sky was blood red. The carnival was in ruins, burned and broken, as if centuries had passed. Around me, hundreds of golden tickets were scattered across the ground, each bearing a name. I looked down at my own hands, and horror struck me. My skin was fading, crumbling into ash. Then I saw it, a large wooden board above the main tent entrance. The words on it shifted before my eyes, forming a new message. Next performance, Aldo, the holder of the golden ticket. I stumbled forward into the tent. Inside, the magician was waiting, smiling. "Welcome home, Mr. Aldo," he said softly. "Your ticket has been redeemed." The lights blazed to life. The audience erupted in applause, though none of them were alive. Rows of empty-eyed faces clapped in rhythm, their mouths stretched in eternal grins. In the front row, I saw Ryan and Nando, smiling faintly, their skin waxy, their eyes glassy. I tried to scream, but no sound came. The magician approached, resting a gloved hand on my shoulder. His breath was cold as frost. "Now," he whispered, "it's your turn to entertain them." 3 days later, residents of Waringen City found the empty field on the town's edge. There were no tents, no rides, only scorched earth and the lingering smell of burnt sugar and ash. But in the center of the field, they discovered 3 golden tickets, half buried in the dirt. Each one bore a name: Aldo, Ryan, Nando. That night, witnesses swore they heard faint carnival music echoing through the wind, a broken waltz, distant but clear. And beneath that melody, a deep voice whispered, "The show must go on until every ticket is redeemed."
Every year since I was a kid, my small hometown, Maple Hollow, held its annual Halloween carnival at the town square. It was always the same. Kids in monster costumes, stalls selling caramel apples, and the smell of roasted nuts drifting through the cool autumn air. But in 2022, things felt a little different. The fog that night came too early, too thick. The air was colder than usual, unnaturally cold. I went with my little sister, Mira, and two of my friends, Dylan and Sophie. We just wanted to have fun, eat candy, and watch the costume parade. But somewhere near the edge of the carnival grounds, we saw something new. It stood apart from the other attractions, a massive structure made entirely of glass panels, glowing faintly under purple and orange lights. A large wooden sign hung in front. The Mirror Maze. See who you really are. The words were written in elegant Gothic letters, with a grinning jack-o'-lantern painted beneath. No one knew who built it. Carnival staff said they hadn't seen it before that evening. "It wasn't here this afternoon," one of them said. Still, people assumed it was a new attraction, part of the show. A tall figure stood by the entrance, cloaked in black with a raven mask covering his face. He didn't move much. When we approached, he held out 4 tickets and spoke in a low, raspy voice. 4 tickets for 4 souls. Once you enter, never break the glass. No matter what happens, keep walking forward. I laughed awkwardly, assuming it was just a scripted act, but behind that mask, I could feel his eyes following me, like he recognized me somehow. We stepped inside. The moment we crossed the threshold, the noise from the carnival vanished. Total silence, except for a faint electric hum in the air. Purple lights glowed dimly beneath the glass floor, reflecting endless copies of our feet. Every wall was made of mirrors, towering from floor to ceiling. The reflections multiplied infinitely, repeating our movements in every direction. At first, it was fun. Confusing, but fun. Then after a few minutes, the fun drained away. Mira squeezed my hand tightly. "This doesn't end, does it?" she whispered. "Relax," I said. "It's supposed to be like that. Just keep right, we'll find the exit." But 10 minutes later, the right-hand rule didn't help. Every turn looked identical. The purple lights flickered and a thin layer of mist crept across some mirrors from the inside. I wiped one with my sleeve. Behind the glass, I saw a face. Not ours. A pale face, empty-eyed, staring straight back at me. "Someone's in there!" I yelled. Dylan rushed over, but by the time he looked, the face was gone. "You just saw your own reflection," he said, though his voice shook slightly. Then came the sound. Light, deliberate footsteps echoing behind us. Tap, tap, tap. Every time we stopped, the sound stopped too. I turned sharply, but there was nothing there. Nothing, except dozens of our own reflections staring back, and one of them wasn't moving. Sophie spoke suddenly. "Guys, look at my reflection!" Her voice trembled. I turned toward her and froze. Her reflection wasn't following her movements. When Sophie tilted her head, her reflection stayed still. Then it began to smile, wide, stretched, too human, yet not human at all. Dylan cursed, pulling her back. "We're leaving. Now." We ran the way we came, but the corridors had changed. No door, no entrance. Every turn led back to more mirrors, more copies of ourselves. The lights began to strobe. For a fraction of a second during one of the flickers, I saw something walking among our reflections. something shaped like me, moving slower, deliberately. When I spun around, nothing was there. Mira started to cry. "I want to go home, please." I wrapped my arm around her, my pulse racing. We kept moving until we found a circular room in the center of the maze. There, on the far wall, stood one enormous mirror, perfectly round, rimmed with black. Above it, written in red letters, "See who you really are." Our reflections shimmered like a distorted video. Behind each of us stood a faint shadow, its head tilted slightly, as if whispering something. Then a voice, soft, female, came from behind the glass. "You've been here before." "What?" I whispered. No one answered, but my reflection, the version of me in the mirror, began to move on its own. It raised a hand, slowly pointing to the right. We exchanged glances. Dylan muttered, "This is messed up." Still, we followed. The new corridor was long and narrow, but this time, the mirrors on either side reflected nothing, just black glass. At the end of the hallway, a single glass door stood ajar, light spilling from within. We ran. When I grabbed the door handle, it felt like touching ice. The moment I pulled, a gust of freezing wind blew from inside, sucking the air from our lungs. The lights blinked out. Darkness. Sophie screamed, "Hold my hand! Don't let go!" We reached out for each other, but something cold and bony slid between our hands. Fingers, human-like, but wrong. I swung blindly into the dark. Nothing. Then light returned, pale and colorless. We were still in the maze, but everything had changed. The mirrors were cracked, the floor trembled slightly, and in the reflections, I didn't see us. I saw the carnival. Bright lights, laughing people, the sounds of life. But here, in the world we stood in, silence, dust, and cold. Dylan slammed his hands on one of the mirrors. "Help! We're in here!" From the other side, in the reflection, a man turned, but only saw his own reflection, not us. We realized the truth. We were trapped on the wrong side of the glass. In the next room, we found another mirror, massive, circular, pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. And then I saw it. There were 5 of us in the reflection. One extra figure stood behind us, tall, thin, cloaked like the raven-masked man at the entrance. But its face was my face. Paler, hollow, cracked eyes like black marble. Sophie backed away, shaking. There were only 4 of us. The figure in the mirror moved before we did. It stepped closer, pressing its hand to the surface. The sound of cracking glass echoed softly, as if something were pushing from the other side. Mira screamed, "It's coming out!" Dylan shouted and punched the glass. A thunderous crack filled the air, but instead of shattering the mirror, it made the room quake. The ground rippled beneath us like liquid. The lights turned blood red. All the reflections around us began to move on their own. They turned towards us, their faces warped into silent screams or twisted grins. Then one of them stepped out. It emerged from the mirror like a person rising from water, slow, deliberate. It looked exactly like Sophie, except her eyes were empty and her smile impossibly wide. The real Sophie sobbed, Don't come near me. The reflection walked right up to her, then pressed her hand against her chest. Sophie fell, limp, her eyes frozen open. When I looked back at the mirror, there were only 3 of us left reflected. Sophie's reflection was gone. We ran. The hallways twisted in circles, descending deeper. The footsteps behind us multiplied. Tap, 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 coming from every direction. Each mirror we passed showed darker versions of ourselves, some bleeding, others smiling with blackened teeth. Dylan broke down. He smashed mirror after mirror, shouting in panic, but every shatter screamed back at him. Human screams trapped in glass. "We can't get out!" he yelled. "Every turn loops back!" I forced myself to focus. I noticed something strange. At every junction, one mirror didn't reflect us at all. It was pitch black. "That's the way out," I said. I grabbed Mira's hand and sprinted. We ran straight toward the dark mirror and, without hesitation, jumped through. When I came to, I was standing again, but everything was gray. No sound, no warmth. The carnival was still there, but frozen in time. People stood like statues, mid-laughter, mid-step. The air hung heavy and cold. Dylan was gone. "Mira," I called. She was beside me, trembling. "Where are we?" I didn't know. Ahead of us stood the same glass house, but now we were outside looking in. Inside, the carnival lights flickered in full color. And through the glass, I saw us, laughing, walking, like when we first entered. Only those weren't us. They were our reflections. They moved perfectly, like actors replaying our lives. But their smiles were wrong, stiff, lifeless. Then one of me inside turned its head slowly toward where I stood, outside, and smiled. Something rushed toward us from the mist. It was Dylan, his face pale, his eyes wide. "I found a way out," he shouted. "There's a tunnel behind the mirrors, but only one can fit." We followed, running behind him. But as he turned a corner, I saw his reflection walking the other way and grinning. "Wait!" I screamed. "Mira, don't follow him!" Dylan stopped, turning slowly toward me. His voice changed, flat, hollow, identical to the raven-masked man's. "I told you," he said, "never break the glass." His skin turned pale blue, frost creeping up his neck. Cold seeped from his footprints as he stepped closer. I grabbed Mira and ran, not daring to look back. The sound of footsteps chasing us faded, swallowed by the mirrors. Finally, we found a door glowing white. Above it, a sign. Exit. Mira sobbed. "We're going home." We ran through it. Blinding light, then color, music, laughter. We were back. The carnival buzzed with life again. I fell to my knees, shaking. We made it! But something was off. The people around us moved strangely, too slow, like a video buffering. The lights had lost their warmth, tinted gray. The sky above us wasn't night anymore. It was flat white, empty of stars. I rushed to the entrance to find the raven-masked guard, but he wasn't wearing the mask anymore. He was me. He smiled. "So, have you seen who you really are?" I turned toward the mirror behind him and froze. In the reflection, I was the one wearing the raven mask, not him. Mira screamed behind me. I spun around, but she was gone. Only her reflection remained inside the glass, smiling faintly. In 2023, the Mira maze never returned to the Maple Hollow Carnival. But when workers dismantled the area, they found something buried under the cracked glass floor. 4 handprints pressed deep into the foundation. Too large, too small. Some claim they still saw strange reflections at night. 4 figures walking behind the glass panes, even when the square was empty. One janitor, an old man named Harold, recorded a short video before quitting. In the footage, the surface of a broken mirror rippled like water. Then, faintly, words appeared in fog across the glass. "See who you really are." The clip went viral briefly before being deleted, but locals said that in the final frame, a face appeared, a face everyone in Maple Hollow recognized. Mine. I don't know if I ever really escaped that night, or if I'm still trapped behind the glass and my reflection is living my life out here. Sometimes when I pass a mirror, I notice my reflection blink half a second late. Sometimes it smiles when I don't. And every Halloween night, at exactly 11:59 p.m., thin mist forms on my bathroom mirror, and faint letters appear. Quote, "You've already seen who you really are," unquote. I usually wipe it away before anyone else notices. But tonight, I won't. Because from the other side of the glass, something is looking back. And this time, I'm sure it's not my reflection.